Hello, guys. I'm going to be talking about my harassment stories. I just think it's time, and multiple people will keep asking me, and I think it's honestly, it would probably help people out of my story because it's actually crazy. A couple of my friends, like, not have the exact story, but they've been harassed before. So when I was, a couple years back, when I found out I was harassed for this situation, and someone told me that they were harassed, it made me feel better. It's like, okay, it's not me. Um, but about myself, I'm a quiet person. Um, I'm nice to everybody else. My family says I'm too nice. I do have disabilities. I have an auditory process disorder, meaning I misunderstand what people say sometimes, but I know when it happens. Um, I also have visual snow syndrome. I see static through my vision, and I'll talk about like recently I got made fun of because I had a concussion and I have post concussion syndrome now. And yes, I got made fun of that. All right, so this happened many years ago. Um, I will say it was a security job that I had, and it's my first security job. Um, I was probably sorry, their pop up happened. Um, I was gonna say I was probably like it was my first security job. I don't know. I was only there like maybe like a month, and I just it's horrible. I hope he never I hope he never makes anybody feel like that, but I knew he did. So this guy harassed me. Let me talk about it. So I get the job. I'm very excited about the job. I like the job. This was probably the second or third day. My boss goes, I need to learn how to punch in. So I was like, okay. And he sends me out and he says, go ask somebody on a computer to, help you sign in, how to teach you to sign in on the computer. So I go out there and there's this guy on the computer and I said, hey, I'm new. Can you teach me how to log in on the computer? And he looks at me up and down and goes, oh, you're the new security girl. I don't believe women should be security. And at that time, I was more tough. And I was like, okay, that's nice. Can you show me how to punch in? And he showed me. I went back to the little office area and I told my boss. And my boss is like, oh, he's just joking with you. And didn't do anything. And I was like, there, like, what am I supposed to do? Because that time, I mean, I didn't know where the HR department was. Um, I didn't know, who to go up, like, hire from him because he was my boss. So I'm just like, and mind you, the guy that harassed me wasn't in security. He was just in that little department area. He was a manager in that little section in the suit department. I'll just say. He was in his 40s, 50s. He was like 6 foot, um, white male, brown hair, brown eyes, heavy set. I mean, I'm just giving you an idea because he does something to me, and I want you to picture it. So I started doing my little rounds, walking around, um, and he was there. And I don't remember everything he said because, again, it happened a long time ago. He would call me weak. I'd walk around, he'll call me weak. If you know the Police Academy movie, he made comments about. Remember how there was a really shy police officer really talks like this, real shy? He would do that voice and he would do reference on Police Academy, which I wanted to. Oh, I did not like that guy. Um, but I can't remember everything he said to me. But I would cry like every day. There was one day that he wasn't there, and it was like the best day ever. Um, but I would try to ignore him. I was like, okay, I just need to ignore this guy, and he'll leave me alone. But he literally followed me throughout the store. There was a, I'll say, there was a day, June 15th, it was a Monday. I was on the second floor and I was walking, and there he's coming the other way. And I was like, I'm just going to ignore him. So I looked straight ahead and just going to keep looking straight, not looking at him. I thought maybe if I look straight ahead, he won't bother me. Yeah, that, yeah, he picked me up and threw me at the wall. And like I told you, he picked me up. And I remember getting like, getting up off from the floor and looking up, and there's this lady who saw the whole thing, but she ran into the bathroom. She said, "You know what I did? I ran to the bathroom. I talked to her. She was HR, and I told her the whole thing and what he's done, and I knew exactly which cameras he was on that time. I can't remember. Like I think there was one camera, like camera 4, but I can't remember all the cameras that everything happened. I know exactly what areas it happened. But I told this lady, and she goes, if I bring anything up again, I'm going to get fired, which was a really weird response. Now, remember, this is the first time I've ever been harassed. This is the first time, I was looking at it was like bullying. And then later when I talked to a lawyer, he's like, that's sexual harassment. And I went, oh, and then it started, but yeah, it's like, oh, that's sexual harassment. And then I started looking into like looking up sexual harassment. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that is. But when I went back to the office area, that time my boss wasn't in. It was two security girls that were there, and I wanted so bad to tell them what had happened. But what was going in my mind was, if I say something again, I'm gonna get fired. So I knew I couldn't say something. And I want to say I was stupid back then. I should have said something. I remember crying. I went home and I I had a missed message from a coworker of mine, an old coworker from a previous job. Um, so I called her, and I basically cried, and I told her everything that happened. But she convinced me that this HR lady has to file the report. They said she filed the report. She definitely filed the report. She has to. That's her job. I'm just gonna say this now. She didn't file the report because when we went to court, it didn't. She never filed the report, which was disgusting to me. But yeah, I told her, I told a group of people that I went to college with, which I found out that they weren't my friends. With them, they actually threatened my work. I found out who threatened them. Um, but yeah, that's like another story. I thought they were friends. They weren't friends. I found out they were part of a gang. Yeah, I'm not friends with them. The guy who threatened my work he passed away from a gang fight. I was so mad because I wanted to take him to court so bad. Because eventually, like, again, I told you they're part of a gang. I got attacked 4 times. Like in 2 years, I got attacked by them by four different times. And I had reported them to my local police, and my local police snitched on me and used my name when they were talking. So they knew that I snitched on them. Yeah. But at first I thought maybe they were trying to help me or something. No, no, because I found out later. Like again, it's a really big story about that. Um, I had one guy come over my house because I was having issues with my computer, and he put a keylogger on my computer, meaning whatever I typed, he could see. And then I also found out later on that they've been hacking me. Like they were taking, they were they got my credit card information somehow, and again they were over my house. So they were buying stuff without my knowledge. And I'm constantly now looking at my bank account now. So how I found out is they were buying games and their usernames were coming up on my bank account stuff. And I went, oh. And yeah, so again, you gotta know who your friends are. Oh, and I'm gonna go back to the harassment story. So another girl who was also like, because I'm like, I don't know this guy's name because I was so new. Um, I did not know his name, so I asked a coworker. I asked two coworkers. They both told me his name and everything like that. Um, she also told me after the case was over that she gets harassed by him. And I'm like, why didn't you say this? This could have been really good for the case. She could have talked, but she didn't. She was afraid she was gonna get fired. And then she told me another girl got harassed as well. And I, at that time, I remember telling her I can just imagine what he would say to her because it was sickening. It was sickening because she told me he would call her racial slurs, and I'm like, really, And I remember this was like years after she told me what her husband did. Her husband was waiting for him in the parking lot with a baseball bat. I know he did beat him up, and then soon after she ended up quitting her job, is what she said. Um, but I I laughed. I was like, oh, good for him. But like, good like when you hear people like, oh, they were waiting them in the parking lot, you think, oh my god, that's horrible. That this part, I'm like, it's like good for him. But I don't know whatever happened with that. I don't know if the guy got arrested. I have no idea. Um, what else can I talk about him? Oh, when we went to court, um, so I was suing him and the company. Well, here, the case ended up dropping. Um, so when I was in security, I was told they keep the camera footage for 6 months and then they delete it. Basically, in 3 days, everything was deleted once I reported. And yeah, it was just like, I told my lawyer, like, this is what they told me. They keep their stuff for 6 months and then they delete it. Not in 3 days. So, on purpose, they deleted the footage. And because I didn't have any footage, there was not enough evidence and the case dropped. And, like, I was mad because I'm like, they deleted the footage on purpose. They were protecting him. Um, I think this was like years later. The girl that was being harassed by him, or not the girl, no, a different coworker of mine. Yeah, because she was a manager on the next floor, and she told me that HR lady that I reported was my harasser's girlfriend, and I'm just like, what? And this is like, uh, again, the case was over, and then I found out this. So I went to call my lawyer about it to see if we could do anything because with that evidence, I went to call my lawyer and he was no longer a lawyer, I found out. And I'm like, what? So I looked him up. Here he was doing drugs, my lawyer, and got arrested. But my parents just told me to drop it. You know, I was spending way too much money for a lawyer, this and that. And they just said, it's done, it's over with. And yeah, that was really disgusting because I spent a lot of money. Like I spent a lot of money, and it was like that. I didn't have enough money. Like I didn't have any money, basically, because I had spent so much money on this, and my parents were like, "We're not, just drop it. We don't want to be spending that much kind of money." And I dropped it, got a different job, And I thought, I hope I never, get harassed again. But that's I think I covered everything. Um, next next job. Um, everything was fine. Uh, uh, but yeah, like everything was not real. So this guy, my next job. So this guy, we were good. I thought we were good friends. Um, I what I was told is it was jealousy. So work wise, I am a fast worker. All right, let me rephrase that. Actually, I can before. All right, so the gang and stuff. So the guy that threatened, um, the one that he actually broke into my house and he gave me my first concussion, which wasn't as bad. So you know, but let me go back to this other job now, because that's the one thing I forgot to say. Um, so I had a concussion. I was dealing with that. It wasn't as bad as the one I had last year. Um, so this guy, again, we were friends. Is good. He was having issues with a machine. He wouldn't, he was operating a machine and he hated the machine. He always complained about the machine. And they had a review on everybody's jobs. Everybody had, even like if you were there for a month or whatever, I was there for like 2 months and then I got hired full time. Mind you, this job, people have been there for 1, 2 years before they got hired full time. It took me 2 months. Um, and I was told that's unheard of. And I'm like, oh, because let me just talk about my job. All right. So then I did quality control as well, and I was trained for a week. Like I think it was like before 1 week, like a Thursday, I got signed off completely. It didn't take me long, and then I was told that's unheard of too. And I'm like, what do you mean? They said it usually takes months before people get signed off on quality control, and I'm like, really? Because I thought it was so easy, and yeah, so I got signed off really fast. Um, I asked this guy that was on this machine, like there's 3 other people that were on this machine. I asked him, I said, because he was stuck on the machine, I said, would you be okay if I go on the machine? And he said, oh, that'd be great. Yes, yes. And I was like, okay. So when it was time for me, to talk to the bosses about what I'd like to achieve, what's my next goal, I asked to operate this machine. And they looked at me because this machine breaks down so much and there's so many issues with this machine. And so they, I think like in a couple days, they stick me on the machine with a different, like with a trainer, and I pick it up. Um, I don't know. I think it's been, I don't know. It took me longer. Like it didn't take me like a month or a week, or it took me like 2 months because I had to go through all the materials, and not all the materials ran like in a week. So I had to wait to run all the materials before I can get signed off completely. But like so when so they would do percents at the end of the days, and it would be like this machine was always like 42%. Like it was always under 100%. It was because you could never run it without it breaking. Um, operators about this, like, what do you do different? Like, what can I do? Let the like we were sharing things like, oh, only put half the bag. Make sure the track is good. Make sure you like stick it with a little splonger, a little stick. And I was like, we were talking around. I was sharing information to the other trainers, and we actually we ran it, and it didn't stop. And we were in the green after I was on there, and I talked to other like shifts because I saw them. I saw it both shifts, and we literally we got it running, and we were green ever since. Every time I was on the machine, we were always in the green. So we were like 175%. And one guy, our coworker of mine, said, this guy that was harassing me said, "Hey, this guy that the one that was harassing me," he said, "Hey, he every time we're in a meeting and they say the numbers, he gets so mad and frustrated." And I'm like, really? And like I would tell him stuff like, I was giving him, and I don't know how long he was with the company. He was there for many years. So I can understand like if he got like mad at me cuz I was just telling him tricks and, keep the I found out tricks. I'm not going to keep that to myself. I'm going to share that information to help other people out. And he got so like frustrated with me, and I there was a day that actually I know it's in because I had messaged a lead about it because it was let me open my phone real fast because I have stuff like he after work we were going back. I was going to my locker, and he gets in my face. I could actually do this, or I'll read the message. It was July 18th, 2018. If you want to know. This is what I wrote. So I was at my locker about to leave, and so, that's his name, I'm not going to say his name, gets in my face saying I get the special treatment because my father works there. And they must have fixed the machine because I'm getting numbers. Um, he said I'm not that good. He just gets in my face and keeps saying I'm getting the special treatment. He said other stuff, and then there's another coworker was there, and my harasser left, and then this person said he talks behind my back on the line all the time. I understand my father works there, but I don't get this special treatment. And then I said to the lead, like, so I must have said the same. So and so, it's been getting in my face lately. Um, oh, and I love her response. And I'm gonna read it. And this is on social media. Like she messaged me back. She's like, "Oh my god, that makes me so upset right now. You have to talk to our specialist." Basically, she says his name about this because my harasser sucks so bad, and you don't get special treatment at all. You have to ignore what he said. And I love how she said he sucks so bad. I mean, what Lee does that, Um, let me think. What else can I talk? Oh, at one point he made me cry. So when I was jumped by that gang, my father, like I had bruised ribs before. I was bad. I couldn't walk for 6 months. My father would have to get out of work. So my father ended up having to tell his boss, and so it went around at that job that I was jumped. Well, my harasser found out this somehow, and he made fun about it. He made jokes about it, and it made me cry. So he got me emotional. He didn't he didn't. I mean, he didn't ever laid his hands on me, um, unless you want to say when he like there was a door thing where he pushed the door at me, like whatever. But so I was trying so hard to ignore it because I don't want to get HR involved. I don't want does he know people because he's been here so long? And my father's like, oh no, they're not like that. Yeah. Yeah, they were like that. So I reported it. Um, I thought they were gonna handle it. They ended up sending me home for 2 weeks with pay, and then putting him on first shift. And I'm like, that's weird. Why wouldn't they have us both, you know, go home? Like, I'm like, why is he on first shift? Why can't I go on first shift? I mean, and then I told them, like, don't you want to see it in action? Don't you want to see, you know, when we're at our lockers, that's the cameras were out there, and it should have been on all on tape. When we were working in the room, there are no cameras, and that's where most of the time he would do it. And when I was on this machine, no one would be in this room. It was either us two together, or it was usually two people on this machine. Sometimes I was by myself, but most of the time it was us two working together too. So he would do that, but I don't get him. Oh, he would. Oh, I remember the lunchroom. I had a friend of mine said, "Oh, Sam, you should come sit with us." So I go over and sit with him. He freaked out, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And one girl's like, yeah, I forget how she said it. Like, it was like high school again or something like that, and she said it was ridiculous to watch. And yeah, um, like it was ridiculous the way he acted. Found out he had a crush on another coworker who was married. They ended up did dating because she admitted to me that they were dating. She was cheating on her husband, dating. I was just like, nope, you know. But she ended up breaking up with him because she's like he was stalking her. She said there was a day that she didn't have a ride for her dentist appointment, and he offered to drive her. So she took the offer, and she said after that he just wouldn't stop stalking her. Like, do you need a ride? This and should be shopping, and there he is. So she was he was stalking her. And I'll get to that stalking part. Uh, but so I go to HR, talk to them. Again, they send me home for 2 weeks with pay. I get a phone call that I'm being fired, and I'm like, what? What do you mean I'm being fired? Because I'm thinking, okay, this is retaliation. I'm gonna sue them. I have this big thing. I have all this evidence. There's camera footage. We can get the camera footage. Um, like I have so many like people. Oh yeah, another thing is I had a lot of witnesses, and I told them all their names. I told this HR lady all the names and everything like that. I found out when I got like days after I got like got fired. They never talked to any of my witnesses, and I'm like, why not? You know, and she told me that they did. Like this HR lady told me, yeah, she did talk to them, and they don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, what do you mean? And yeah, I found out she never questioned them, and yeah, she never witnessed like all the witnesses. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, and when I went to court, they gave him one of their lawyers because they called me and said that we don't believe you were ever being harassed by him. And I'm like, what? I said, there's evidence. I have witnesses. I have, stuff on camera. That one part, I know it's on camera. And I was disgusted with it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Um, yeah, I got a lawyer. I was like, I thought, I have all this proof. I have witnesses and everything like that. I would win. I won the case, and they kept appealing. Again, they gave him one of their lawyers, so it was, they kept appealing and appealing and appealing, and they were draining me out my money. And I didn't have a lot of money. And my parents said, we're not going to help you with this again. And like, not being like, it was a lot of money. And I probably lost like $15,000, like that kind of money. And I ended up dropping the case, and it was disgusting because I'm like, I won the case, and they just kept appealing and draining out my money. Um, but I found out he was related to somebody, of course. Afterwards, um, the HR lady that was, oh, this gets better. This is actually, it gets better at the afterwards, like a couple years later. The HR lady that I was talking to was his aunt. And yeah, I'm like, I'm disgusted with that. And I'm like, of course he's related to somebody. And yeah, it was the aunt. I found out a couple years later, I was working somewhere else, that um, they found out about the relationship. So my harasser started harassing somebody else after I was gone, and he was fired because of that. Um, and like my mother always tells me, what comes around goes around, type thing. So the odd HR lady was fired. The bosses, both like the boss and the specialist, were fired because they knew about the relationship. The plant manager, the plant manager knew about the relationship. He was fired, and once everybody this went around in the company, everybody was chanting, bring me back," which I absolutely love. But I wasn't going to go back there because the way I was treated. Um, they told them that they called and apologized to me, but I didn't want the job. And I had 3 workers from there call me and ask me, "Is that true?" Uh, I was like, "No, that's not true. They never called me." They just told them that so they would basically shut up, basically. Yeah. So it's, oh, and with him, I will tell you, that guy, he still harasses me to this day. I mean, it's been a month, but I always feel like I know, like he got arrested again, so I don't know if he's in jail. I have no idea. Um, so after, I know he harassed another girl. Um, this was all, there's an article about it. Um, so I don't know, like, because I looked up, what was he charged with and stuff like that. He was charged with stalking. I can actually find it up. What he was, because I took screenshots and I saved it. Like, oh look, of, let me find it. Let me find it. I know it's in here somewhere. There, I think this is it. Oh, here it is. There it is. Stalking, repeatedly commit acts to sorry. Stalking, repeatedly commit acts to cause fear. Harassment, uh, subject others to physical contact. That's what he was charged with. This is wasn't my case. This was somebody else's case. Um, I know what I heard was he stalked a girl from a job. Went to her house. She called the police. He wouldn't leave. He also punched an officer. Um, I also know after that he went over her house, beat her up, and he was intoxicated. There was that. Um, I know he also had a DUI, and like there's a, because he fled the scene, type thing. Um, and I've heard that he got arrested again. Like I always thought, like, oh, what comes around goes around. I did see him at Applebee's. I was with family. He came up to me while he was with his fiance, and he apologized to me. He told me he apologized. He said he did it because his mother passed away. Mind you, his mother was really healthy and alive then. Um, yeah, like she didn't have cancer or anything like that. So I called him out on that, and his fiance was like so shocked. I found out because I have friends that are friends with her, that was friends with his mother, and one girl said that she passed away, and like she, like this time, and like, but like he basically, oh, and like she was telling me that this is what I was gonna say. She was gonna tell me, she told me that him and his fiance broke up. So yeah, but yeah, it's like again, what comes around goes around. But yeah, I get stalked. He messaged me, calls me the C word, CUNT, and I could probably bring that up too. Things that he, I mean, again, I have everything saved. I don't care how long ago this happened. I have things saved. Um, oh, he calls me. Oh, so I was disgusted after I got a new job. I was there for a year. I was talking to a friend of mine. I thought, and I thought, oh, he just got a new Facebook page. It was my harasser. I didn't know this until he changed the name, you know, to different his profile. Like, so I was like, I wonder how he's doing. I go on there and I'm like, wait a minute, why does it say this name? And I went to my police. There was a day that I was gonna go to a park, hang out with him, and I didn't have my car because hail damage and stuff like that to it. And my dad's buddy, we call him family as well. He's a state trooper in a different country. Not different country. A different state. He's Arizona, but country. Why did I say country? No, but he's a state trooper in a different state, and he drove me down, and look who knows. Like he was there. Like he was standing right there, and I'm like, why is he here? And then I it put two to two together, and I'm actually glad that the state trooper, came with me. He's like he's family. He calls my dad uncle all the time. But I'm so glad he came with me. I'm like I reported to the police about it, but they didn't do anything. And I'm thinking you should look at his car. See if there's rope or duct tape in there. They didn't do that. Um like a couple messages here. Sup, CUNT. F you, I don't care if I go to jail. I hate you. You are always on my mind. I can't stop thinking about you. There's another one. I know this is you. I know this is you, Sam. You just not replying. I still have my job. Ha ha ha. And you don't. And like there's more to it. And then like there's another message. You're still a CUNT. You're still a CUNT. I found your email and I don't care. Get me fired. Go ahead. I already got you fired. And then like I had a couple other messages over Facebook, but those were deleted. He deleted those ones. But he's called me repeatedly. What's this one? Oh, it's a different one. Oh, I had another girl call me. Oh, it was ridiculous. But like, yeah. But eventually he got fired, and I try to get restraining orders from him, and my local police, they just suck. They really do. I'm just gonna say it. They suck. They don't want to like. We have a new chief of police now, and I know who the officer is. Good guy. The other guy was horrible. Oh, I should bring that up too. So when I was gang jumped, um I had a gun to my head. Um I thought I was gonna die. Uh but like after I got like beat up and everything, I still remember that cold gun. Like I can still picture it. Um like again, I thought I was gonna die. I thought my mother was gonna find me dead and stuff. Um but as I was on the ground, like beaten up, again, I could not walk for like 6 months. This officer comes up to me and goes, "Ha ha ha! At least you didn't get shot." And I thought, oh, I'm going to tell this chief of police what this officer just said to me. Found out later that was the chief of police. Yeah, that's who the chief of police is. That was, this is now we have a new one. Just wanted to bring that story because I'm gonna forget certain details. I know I'm gonna do. Okay, now the next job. I know it's like it just keeps happening. So this one shouldn't have happened. I should have never got harassed. I could have said who it was, but I didn't want to send that hate to them. So I was with this company for for many years. I was with this company for many years. This was the long like I thought it would be there forever type thing. This is one of the so out of all my jobs I've ever had, two of them are closing this year. Two of them. So, but yeah, this one. So good worker again. I love this. I love this job. I was really good at my job. Um, I didn't have everyone was my friend. Everybody liked me and everything like that. So there was a day that I was training. Like I became a trainer, and this is my first day to train somebody. I had trained two people, and I'm training them. And this lady, everybody knows her as the nicest lady. She's just a sweetheart type thing. She comes up to me and starts yelling at me, calling me a two-face, bitch. I was like, "What are you like?" And I'm train. I'm like a new trainer. I'm training these new people, and she comes up to me, yelling, and I'm like, I look at her. And I'm like, I don't know what what you're yelling at me about. Oh yeah, you don't. Blah blah blah. Well, I didn't know what she was yelling at me about. I didn't. And after I'm like, I'm trying to train, and she runs away, and these new people are like looking at me. I said, I really don't know what she's talking about. And I kept looking, and I'm like, I'm turning her in, what she just did. So I walked off the line to my boss, and I said, this is what happened, brought her name up and everything like that. Well, it goes around, oh, I turned in the nicest person type thing. And I got a lot of hate for that. And I didn't know what she was doing. And there's this big rumor going around. One of her best friends got turned in the office and she was fired. And someone saw me that day in the office. I was in that office to tell them, yes, I want to become a trainer. And like I didn't turn her in. You know, I was in there to because at the beginning of the day they said if anybody wants to be a trainer, let them know. And I thought about it, and at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I think I want to be a trainer. So I go in the office and I said, yes, I'd like to become a trainer. And so they all saw me in the office thinking, oh, she's telling on somebody. No, I wasn't telling on anybody. And they, oh man, I had a crowd on me like harassing me. It wasn't a bunch of women harassing me. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking. I didn't turn to this person, and every time I said I didn't turn this person in, no one believed me. I didn't turn that person in. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was in the cafeteria one day. I was eating, every time we had our lunch or breaks, and there was this day that my chair was pulled from underneath me. Yeah, my chair was pulled from underneath me, and I fell. And they were making fun of me. I couldn't believe I turned them in. My boss was like, "Did you get hurt?" And I mean, I wasn't like hurt. So he talked to them and whatever. But I got so much hate. People started telling rumors about me that weren't true. You have a best friend coworker type thing. I ended up telling her. I said, "They're really being." She goes, "Sam, And she's like allowed to tell them that it was me. And I said, you don't want all this hate. I never, till this day, I have never told them that it was her that turned that girl in because I did not want that hate on her. She no longer works for that company. But like, yeah, I understand it wasn't me, but so that's how a lot of harassment started because somebody thought I turned one person in and it wasn't me, and found out who it was who actually turned her in. I was like, I'm not saying that hate to you. You don't want all this hate. Um, I mean, yeah, I could have said, after she left that it was her, but I didn't want to send any of that hate to her. I'd rather been harassed than her, type thing. But but yeah, that's how it started. And then the lady that yelled in my face with the new trainer stuff, she would every time I would train somebody, she'd come over and like look around what I was doing, saying I was a bad trainer. Her good comment she would say was, people with disabilities, people with disabilities shouldn't be trainers. And so I got to hear that a lot. Um, but yeah, and then but I got the years and years be harassed. So, and that's what that. Um, Next job. This lady, so again, fast learner. They put me on a machine, put on a machine. This one lady, she's like 6 foot tall lady, and she told me to commit suicide. I should jump over a bridge and drown. She wasn't. I wasn't the only one. I was being harassed. There was two other women that are being harassed by her, and I turned her in. Not people. No, I was working on something, and she said I'm slow because I have. It's because of my disability. And I was like, what? And I was brand new. I was just learning something, and I think it was like I turned her in because I couldn't take it anymore. She'd make me cry every day. Um, but then she started saying like, um, I should jump over a bridge. I should drown, and like she's like, She's like, and then there was one day that she said, I'll jump with you. She's like, I can't swim, and I turned her in. And then I had another girl when I turned her in. Her bestie trapped me in the bathroom, wouldn't let me leave, and I turned them in. And my boss, when she came back from vacation, out, and yeah, it's like one of those things. Like, why me? Why am I getting harassed? But then I find out that these two girls that were harassing me are best friends with the boss, and I'm like, of course they are favorites. Oh, this place was horrible. Um, well, the first day I worked there, the trainers are mean. They're just bullies. I was told, mind my effing business, because I saw somebody was making a mistake. So I told the trainer. The trainer turned around to me, told me mind my effing business. I was called stupid. Um, Before the job, I read the reviews. There are so many 1 stars. It is the most toxic environment I have ever worked in my life, and I mean it is. It's all these days I've been harassed, like 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 all those like jobs. Like this is the really like this is a really toxic, environment. They have their favorites, but yeah, it was. It's like, oh, it was horrible. But yeah, it's like I swear every time I report something, I get fired. That's what it feels like. I get harassed, but it's my fault apparently. I'm getting punished. So most of the time when I get harassed, like this job, um, I don't report it fast enough. Like I don't. I wait and wait and wait because I'm like, don't report it. You know what happened last time. And it gets to me so bad. I'm like, I have to report this. This is too toxic. And yeah, but I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, and this lady also told me that she was gonna fight me in the parking lot too. Yeah, I felt threatened. I really did. Oh, she started talking about other workers too, and I told the other workers what she said, and they said I escalated the situation too. But again, two of my other coworkers were being harassed by her too, and they told me they're being watched as hawks right now by the bosses. They believe if they make one mistake, they're gonna get fired. You know, that type of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad I don't work there, but you know, it sucks losing a job. But I just hope my next job, I don't, it's not like that. Like, I hope it's a nice job where, like, I have never been to a job where, like, everyone is just so disrespectful. I mean, yeah, there were some amazing people there too, um, but mostly horrible people. Like, oh man. Like, if you would read the reviews on this place, it's horrible. All right, bye. Hmm.